now you have started applying for jobs as a law fresher, or as a matter of fact, as any fresher who comes from any background. The moment you apply for jobs at MNCs, multinational corporations, you will find out that they have something called as an assessment questionnaire, which they expect you to fill, which helps them understand what kind of a person you are and whether you will be able to fit into their company or not. If you clear that phase, then you may have to appear for different stages like an interview or any other stage as per their requirement. But usually it is, in most cases, it's just an interview if you're applying as a fresher. So often some people who, especially I hear from many people, especially coming from the tier 3 universities, that they face a lot of problems in clearing such assessments. In this video, I will try to give you some tips on how you can clear such assessments. I will try to give you a sample question and take your feedback on that. And also I will tell you why this happens, right? So all these points we will try and quickly cover in this small informative live. For those of you who are watching the recorded version of this, you can actually hit a like button in case if you find this useful. And if you have any questions, don't forget to list them down in the comments below. So now again, specifically, talking about students from the tier 3 universities, they develop certain bad habits during their graduation. Also, there is lack of competence, like the level of competition is not that fierce. There is a lot of leniency with respect to deadlines, submissions, and a lot of things. How, just take a situation, when you are doing an internship, how easily you say that I'm sorry, I got late, can you please do this, or please help me with this, or can someone help me with this, or I missed it, sorry for so and so emergency, I will not repeat this in future, right? हमें ये गलत हैबिट्स पड़ जाती हैं एंड ये सब चीज़ें जो है वो चल जाती हैं यूनिवर्सिटी में, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली दीज थिंग्स डू नॉट वर्क in the practical world. In fact, your sorry has no value. It actually has no value unless and until you're able to convince the other person that you had a genuine reason and you will not repeat this in future. That still can help you, but if you say this thing, it will not make you appear a person who can fit into that opportunity. So therefore we develop these bad habits. They work in the universities. Unfortunately, they do not work in the companies when you start working. So all these things accompanied by many other habits, like we feel that if we are good at studies, then definitely we will be able to do a better job at once we get selected. But the thing is, like, as we are doing this financial crime series, so whatever we are studying is just a theoretical concept which will help you understand once you start working. For example, what is money laundering, how to prevent money laundering, इसकी एक definition है जो as a theory हम पढ़ते हैं, we read that as a theory, but how to actually do it, how to log into the system, how to frame questions, how to forward them, make sure that you do the right things, उसके लिए we need experience. Or at this phase, once you're starting work at a company, you do not have that experience. You just merely have some theoretical knowledge. If you have, some people actually go without that also. So they do not do any research on what they are doing. They just blindly apply for jobs and do not do research on what kind of a job it is, what are the important definitions that they will need to know, what are the important key terms, all those things. So that is one problem that is there. So even after you understand these concepts, this thing called as an assessment will always come as a barrier between you applying and getting selected. So in this video, I will try to ask you a question and then tell you what are the things that you need to keep in mind. So before I tell you some tips, I would like to ask you a question, and that question is very simple. It will have 4 options, and you can just reply in the open chat with your preferred answer. Okay? I'll ask you a simple question, and then we'll see that we'll try to talk about it. So my question is that imagine it's a situation. So in the assessment, there are various situations that are given to you, on the basis of which company makes a judgment on how you will be as a person once you start, when you join their team, right? So there will be certain situations, based on that they make an assessment. So I'm going to ask you a question. Let's take an example. You have a 9 to 5 job. Your work stops at 5 o'clock. Okay? You're working as a fresher. So a question can come like, what if at 5 o'clock, after you've just finished your shift, your boss comes in you and tells you that, see, X person has made a mistake because of which you're working as a team, right? You're working as a team when you start working. So X person has made a mistake because of this. There is a serious problem and we need to work on this thing, and that might require you to work for 1 or 2 hours more. So that basically your boss is asking you to work for 2 hours more as it is an emergency. Now you have four options. First, you can say, sorry, I cannot work because it is already 5 o'clock and my job is over, right? My job is over and it's already 5. So actually I have to leave, unfortunately. You can say one thing, that's option A. Option B is you can actually say, say that my shift is over, but I have to go right now, but I don't mind doing this over the weekend. So abhi it's a Friday evening, it's Friday 5 p.m. I can't do it right now, but I don't mind working on it on the weekend. Okay, I'll do it on a Saturday and Sunday. Third, option C. Option C will be that you do that somehow with a bad face. You somehow do that job and later on complain to the HR saying that, see, my shift is until 5 and I actually worked extra. So please try if this is not repeated in future. And option D is, of course, you just do the job, and that's the fourth option, D. So answer very honestly, if this question will come in front of you, what would be your answer? Will it be A, B, C, D? I'll repeat once again. A is you say no. B is you say, I can't work right now, but I'll work over the weekend. C would be that you work on it and say कि चलो अभी कर लेते, बाद में you just say कि यार this is not fair, it's not done. And fourth is that you actually do the job. What according to you should be the right answer for this situation, considering the fact it's a Friday evening, it's already 5 and you are in a 9 to 5 job? Okay, so what option would you choose? Let me have a look at the answers that are there. Okay, so I see most of you are choosing option D. Okay, that's good. When I had this conversation with some other people, they actually had different opinions. For example, they can say, I can work over the weekend. Do you think, okay, D option is chosen. Now, according to you, what are the other three possibilities? So A, B, and C are there. What could be a second answer that you might choose? If I would ask you, okay, your answer is accepted, but what could be another answer that you can give? So what would be that? A, B, or C? So now we're talking about A, B, or C. D is gone. Okay, you've given the answer. Now, if you were to choose out of A, B, and C, what would you choose? Work over the weekend. Okay. C is you do the work and then you make an issue and say that, see, this is not fair over the weekend. Okay. What about the rest? Over the weekend, make an issue. Okay. Okay. Great. So, okay, thank you so much for sharing your feedback. Now, I had this conversation with some other people and their answer was, some of them chose the option D, that yes, they will work at that point of time. Some others chose option A, which in which they said that, see, we have a 9 to 5 job. Why do we work beyond 5? Some said we can work over the weekend, and some said they did not actually choose the option of creating a, we will complain. So that was not there. So according to me, the right answer, and according to expert, the right answer to this, of course, D, which unfortunately many people did not have. That is the right answer. Then apart from that, you can do the work and then later on, okay, complain. That is still fine. I'll tell you why that is fine. First thing is you just say no, that, see, I cannot do this thing. The problem is that today it is someone else. You are working as a team and it is someone else's mistake you are suffering. Tomorrow it could be you. So the company expects you that you know nothing. They are training you, they are giving you that knowledge, and you're in the beginning years. At this point of time, if you have such an attitude that I'm done, sorry, can't do that, so that could be a bit difficult. So therefore one is for sure, option A is not an option. Option B is also the wrong answer, because if it could be done over the weekend, then your boss would have said, okay, do this over the weekend. So if he's coming to you at 5 o'clock and saying it's an emergency, then you do not have the option of using B as an option. So therefore, B also should not be the right option. It could be possible that you can be asked to choose two options, and usme se you've chosen D, that is the right. But what if you chose maybe A or B, right? Then those were wrong answers. The right approach could be that you do that work, because see, somehow मुसीबत के वक्त जो काम आता है वो अच्छा दोस्त होता है, right? We've heard this thing. So that's why if in time of need, whether you do whatever, you make a complaint or do all those things later on, but at that point of time you were there, you somehow you know were there, so then that is the right answer. You somehow there, but then you can later on say that, see, this is wrong and I've worked extra. So that of course you always need to keep in mind. प्रैक्टिकली स्पीकिंग, नॉट फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ एन असेसमेंट, बट ये चीज हो सकता है एक्चुअली में एक बार, दो बार, या मैक्सिमम 3 बार होगी, एंड इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड कि आप ऐसा करें. बट you should always keep this thing in mind, that doing it is just at this phase that I'm suggesting you to do this particular option. This will not be such a frequent activity, and after you start working, it will be your decision of how to make a distinction between actually helping or being taken for granted. That will be after you start working, after you have 3, 4, 6 months of experience. That will be then your decision. But as of now, from at this point of view, you should always keep this thing in mind, that this is important, that being for the company where you're required, because today it is someone, tomorrow it could be you, because you're working as a team. So that is what needs to be kept in mind. This was one question that I had asked you. There are several questions, and to answer those questions, just keep these tips in mind. Firstly, value your job. You should always appreciate the fact that a company is taking you in, willing to invest in you. So you should go there with a mindset why you are coming to the why you are coming. So your correct approach should be, I'm getting an opportunity to learn and practice what I have learned for your benefit, so that I'm able to give you at least 3x for the amount of salary that I'm getting. And the salary that I'm getting is a small appreciation for me. So I'm treating the salary just as that. So always keep these golden words in mind, that you are going there with an intention to learn, to work hard, and apply whatever you've learned plus your experience in that company's growth. The salary that you're giving is just your incentive. That is not the main purpose. That is just an incentive. And it will be your duty to give 3x to what you're earning. हर कंपनी की में यही होता है, आप जितनी भी सैलरी कमा रहे हो, तो चाहे आप सेल्स में हो, किसी भी, irrespective of whichever domain you're working in, हर कंपनी का ये होता है कि हम इसको अगर 10,000 की सैलरी दे रहे हैं, तो एटलीस्ट हमारे लिए 30,000 का काम करेगा, 25,000 का काम करेगा. दैट इज द यूजुअल इक्वेशन ऑन बेसिस ऑफ विच योर सैलरी इज डिटर्मिन्ड. एंड यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड दैट अ पर्सन इज डिमांडिंग सो एंड सो हाई सैलरी. सो उस वक्त कंपनी को लगता है कि ठीक है, वी कैन नॉट अफोर्ड दिस पर्सन, बिकॉज द कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन दैट ही इज मेकिंग, दैट इज मोर देन वॉट हिज सैलरी इज. और मे बी अगर उसका कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो अराउंड उसने एक्सपेक्ट किया 5 लाख अ मंथ, और उसका कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन जो है वो अराउंड 5.5 लाख है, मतलब इतना नहीं है जितना हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं, ये हमारे बजट को में उतना नहीं है. देन दे हैव टू लेट गो ऑफ सच पीपल, एंड दैट पर्सन इज कॉल्ड अ वैल्यूएबल एक्सपीरियंस रिसोर्स. तो जब आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस आएगा, देन यू कुड बी इन सर्टन सिचुएशन टू create an issue for these things, because then a company can tolerate you, but not at this point of time. So please keep these things in mind. ठीक है, ये गोल्डन वर्ड्स ध्यान रखिए, इसको माइंड में रखिए. यू शुड ऑलवेज हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ एन अप्रोच कि व्हाई आई एम कमिंग टू वर्क. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, यू आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू बी अ टीम प्लेयर, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली जब आप ज्वाइन करेंगे तो यू विल बी वर्किंग इन अ टीम. यू विल हैव अ पर्सन सुपरवाइजिंग यू, एंड दे विल बी अदर्स हु विल बी वर्किंग विद यू. सो यू आर ऑलवेज एक्सपेक्टेड टू बी अ टीम प्लेयर, work for the team, try to help others as much as you can, and whatever your superior says, obey the instructions, because there is a reason why he's the superior, he has an experience. So not to apply your mind, but to follow his instructions would be the right approach in the beginning. Making suggestions is something separate, but whatever he says should be the final word, right? So working as a team player and obeying instructions of the superiors, that should be the first and second thing that I've just told you. First is, of course, the golden statement that I've made. uh, Third is, whenever there's an opportunity, help people around you. uh, that is from an interview's point of view, but as I mentioned, after a period of time you will understand the difference between just helping and being taken for granted. So there it will be your judgment of how you want to do things. एक बार हेल्प करी आपने, दो बार हेल्प करी, तीसरी बार आप ये कह सकते हो कि आई विश आई कुड टुडे बट यू नो मेरी अनफॉर्चुनेटली बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, बट यू रिमेंबर दैट टाइम आई हेल्प यू, यू नो, सो इफ आई कुड आई वुड, बट नाउ इट्स अ जेन्युइन प्रॉब्लम. तो ये मैं बहुत प्रैक्टिकल चीज़ बता रहा हूँ आपको, विच कुड हैपन आफ्टर 8-9 months, राइट? Not before that, and definitely not during this interview. So this diplomatic approach must be used once you start actually working, and not during the interview. This is for your own thing, you know, so that you don't feel that यार मेरे को तो यार हर कोई ऐसे मतलब कुछ भी करवा लेता है. So you don't have that kind of a thing. So ये डिप्लोमेटिक आंसर रखें, कभी भी किसी को डायरेक्टली मना ना करें. अगर आपने 3 बार 2 बार भी उसकी हेल्प करी है, तो थर्ड टाइम यू कैन से सी इफ आई कुड आई डेफिनेटली वुड, बट सी मेरे को बहुत जेन्युइन प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे को जाना पड़ रहा है, ये मेरा ऐसा कुछ है. So that should be your decision. I'm not saying this should be your decision, so that for yourself you know the difference between being taken for granted and actually helping. And if you think that it requires help, then if you think that tomorrow you could be in that situation, then the decision lies entirely with you. But from an interview's point of view, please, you have to have respect for the other workers, you have to help others, and you will try to best to contribute your maximum and try to hide the mistakes of others and try to support them as well. So this should be your attitude. Point number 3, please keep this in mind. And fourth point, ask for help if required. If you feel that you have any question, if you need any help, you are more than welcome to ask for help, but please make sure to keep in mind to do your bit of research. Now, what do I mean by this? Now, I was having a conversation with my colleague, and she happens to have a firm that deals in patents, copyrights, etc., trademarks. So she said that, you know, we do, because it's a beginning firm, so they do give opportunity to freshers. So she has direct access to the freshers because it's a new organization. So she had that thing in mind, that the problem that I face with freshers is, since they have an access to them, so kabhi bhi kuch bhi they ask something, you know, that they will sometimes come with the silliest of the silly doubt, which they could have answered themselves had they made 5-10 minutes of effort themselves. So try to make your own effort before approaching your seniors, so that you don't appear to look dumb, right? अगर आप कल को लिटिगेशन में भी हो और आप कह देते हो कि सर इसमें is there any we can do this against them, this is not fair, how is not possible, you should have the relevant sections and the relevant case laws to support that thing. And if there isn't, you should search for them, and if you can't find, then you should tell them, see, I tried to do this, I tried to find these case laws, it did not work, now what should I do? So always make sure to ask for help if it is not your expertise, but do make your effort, so that, you know, you don't look like a excuse me, person who's just coming without making the effort himself. So please keep this thing in mind. It's okay to be stressed. The next point number 5, which I would say, is it is okay to be stressed. आपकी इस दिन खराब होगा, deal with that situation, listen to music, have your own ways of dealing with situations, watch a comedy movie, and come back to work with a new mindset and forget what happened in the past. It is okay to be stressed, it is okay to have problems, but you should have the ability to deal with such problems so that you don't give up. Staying down is always failure. Falling down is not. अगर आप नीचे गिर रहे हो तो वो फेलियर नहीं है, बट अगर आप वहीं पर रुके हुए हो और आप उससे आगे ऊपर नहीं बढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, and you've already given up, that is actually what we call as failure. So always keep these things in mind. Just to briefly sum everything up, what I've said is the mentality that especially tier 3 universities, the students that come from those universities have a very bad approach of working. They think that just by giving an excuse कि मेरे से ये गलती हो गई, मेरे से वो हो गया, sorry I won't repeat it. Trust me, sorry has no value. And आप जो लंबा मैसेजेस लिखते हो ना कि ये सब रीजन है, कोई उनको पढ़ता भी नहीं है. They will just like, यार what nonsense is this, just ignore. So that is exactly what happens, because if others were able to do this, why haven't you not done it? Yes, we do have genuine problems. We sometimes do have that. But then the other person has the ability to judge whether it was a genuine problem or self-created genuine problem. So please keep also that thing in mind. And if let me repeat that example. Now I said that 2 times you help, third time you say, ठीक है? So consider this thing also. If 2 times you've helped, or maybe 3 times you've helped, and if you say no for the fourth time, then they would think, यार नहीं यार ये तो always, this person always helps. This time if he said no, there could be a genuine reason, right? तो वो भी चीज एक हो सकती है. तो 4 बार अगर आपने कोई चीज सही, 3 बार सही करी है, चौथी बार अगर कभी थोड़ी सी गलती हो गई, दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स ठीक है, दे विल से कि हाँ यार दिस पर्सन ऑलवेज हेल्प्स, अभी कुछ हो गया होगा. तो वो मैं एक आगे फ्यूचर की बात बता रहा हूँ आपको. That thing also does, but try to have a good impression in the beginning and follow all these points that I've suggested, and just consider these points, that you're going as a team player, supporting your team, helping others, trying to move forward as a team. किसी ने गलती करी, hide that and try to give in your best effort in order to give the best results to the company, to justify your salary and give 3x back to the company for the small amount that you're taking as an incentive for your effort. Just keep these golden words in mind, and I'm pretty sure after you have all these things in mind, it won't be a problem. एक छोटा सा पॉइंट और है विच आई वुड लाइक टू ऑल्सो एड इज कि अगर कभी अगले से गलती हो रही है, तो समटाइम्स यू इट इज ऑलवेज बेस्ट टू कीप क्वाइट even if it is not your fault. Like, let's take an example of family issues, relationships. In such situation, what is actually the key to a successful marriage is that you are understanding what the other person is doing and you ignore the mistakes and try to see the good inside that. So इसी तरह का एटीट्यूड आप कंपनी का रखना है कि जो छोटी मोटी गलतियां हो रही हैं, you ignore those things and you always have love for the company and you will always try to avoid the bad things and try to appreciate the good things that have happened because you want to be together, right? So अगर एक गलती कर रहा है और अगला बंदा जो है वो हल्का सा बेंड डाउन भी कर रहा है, so there can never be a conflict till the other person is willing to say कि चलो कोई बात नहीं, it's okay, right? So always keep that thing also in mind. Huh, in the long run, when this thing happens for 5, 6 or 7 times, then of course it is being taken for granted. But until that happens, which mostly does not, till that time you should always have that attitude that ठीक है यार चलो हो गया कोई बात नहीं. Always have that kind of a love and affection for the company. At least show, if you don't have it, show that you know you will always have that because you are learning so much from them, you are getting salary from them, so it is your duty and responsibility and you would be happy to do all that for the company in order to contribute to their growth, right? I think that should be all. Just keep these tips in mind that could help you in clearing assessments, and I will try to just post some mocks. If I try to find, I will for sure try to post them in the description below. So if there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask. In this, I try to just answer some of your question of why problems happen, and also I try to tell you that what are the points that you must keep in mind. And in the end, I've actually compared this thing with our personal life of what happens in families, relationships, marriage. If one person is okay, एक और छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. देयर आर 3 ब्रदर्स. एल्डेस्ट वन जो है, जो यंगर वन है, उसे ऊंची आवाज में बात कर ली. सो एल्डेस्ट वन विल शाउट एट हिम. बट व्हाट इफ द एल्डेस्ट पर्सन इज लाइक क्वाइट? हो सकता है छोटे वाले को कभी अपनी गलती रियलाइज हो कि यार मैंने उस दिन गलती कर दी थी. कितनी बार ऐसा होगा? 1 बार, 2 बार, तीसरी बार छोटे वाले को जरूर शर्म आएगी. थर्ड पर्सन, द यंगर वन विल फील अशेम्ड. So then the other one is acting as the matured one. Always show that you are the matured person and you have the potential to be there in the long run, right? So are there any questions? Let me just quickly have a look at the comments. Are there any questions before we close? Any questions? If there are any, you can for sure ask. And please don't forget to hit the like button. I think some of you are attending and have not hit the like button. Please hit the like button as well that you see down there. Okay, any further questions? Anything else that you have in mind? Okay, so I think that was all. We are continuing with the financial crime series, and just I thought this was useful because that knowledge is useless without having these things in mind. So I hope you have learned from this session, and if there are any questions, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments below. So I think that is all for today. and thank you so much for watching. Okay, thank you.